She will tell you her story, which is the story of our Vietnam history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Karoni Forrester, daughter of Ron Forrester, United States Navy and graduate of Texas A&M at Bryan, Texas.
Howdy. My name is Karoni Forrester, and I am the very proud daughter of Captain Ronald W. Forrester, United States Marine Corps. He's missing in action over North Vietnam. Now I'm excited to be here, and I'm so excited, like Ram said, to see all the people that came today. Ram called me a couple of years ago asking if I would attend, and then we all kind of got grounded by a virus. And today's finally the day that we get to do this together, and I'm honored to be here with you to celebrate you, our Vietnam veterans. Christopher and I drove in from Austin, Texas last night, so we might be a little tired, but I tell you what, there's no place we'd rather be right now than here with you. Also, to the Veterans Band, that was awesome. I love the military medley. It makes me happy. That was good stuff. And also to VVA Chapter 910, thank you for all the work sponsoring this and putting this event together. Also, Ram, you're something special. And I know that all of you in the community know what a gem you have in this fine man. To all of our Vietnam veterans here today, I want to say, welcome home. Thank you for your service, and thank you for my freedom. And on behalf of all POW MIA families and Gold Star families, we're so glad you made it home. We are grateful that you made it home because you helped us. And thank you. Okay, so as parents, they say you can't have a favorite kid, right? And maybe that's the reason I only have one kid. But I do love a lot of Vietnam veterans. I have been blessed, and you're my silver lining. But I do have a favorite, and I'm going to talk to you a little about him, because he's my favorite. Ron Forrester is the son of two of the most incredible people I've ever known. They're really awesome. He's the brother of two. He's a twin. He's a nephew. He's a cousin. He's a best friend. He's an uncle. He's a grandfather. He's a fighting Texas Aggie. I want some whoops. Thank you. I heard one somewhere. He's a United States Marine. He is my father, and he is missing. Now, Daddy was born to fly, and from a young age, he would play with his toy airplanes, and he bossed his brothers around like a general, or at least that's what his brothers have to say about it. But when he was 5, he decided it was time to make his first jump. And the young pilot's plan was to use his bed sheet as a parachute and climb on top of the roof of the house. And right about then, when he gets up there from the tree in front of the yard, his brothers run in, and Papa was quick that day. He came out, his brothers, Ronnie's crazy. Papa made the young pilot descend from the tree. He was raised in Odessa, Texas, and if any of you have been there, you understand. I was raised there too. I can testify that it made sense that Dad headed to greener pastures in College Station, Texas, because water and trees, they make a difference. Now, after graduating from Texas A&M with a civil engineering degree, Daddy was commissioned into the Marine Corps, and he was destined and determined to fly. So he headed off to Pensacola, Florida, where he was being trained as a bombardier navigator on the esteemed A6A Intruder. That's also where I kind of came on the scene, and I have to say, one of the most important documents I have is my passport, and it says I'm from Florida. I am not from Florida, so I want to go on record that I am 100% Texan. After Pensacola, we moved to Cherry Point, North Carolina, and then from there, Dad deployed to Southeast Asia, Nampong, Thailand. And they called it the Rose Garden, Marine Corps Air Station, Nampong, but they called it the Rose Garden. And I've seen pictures of the place, and there were no roses. It was Lynn Anderson's song apparently just really inspired the name of the base that did not reflect anything rose-like. They would fly over Laos to bomb strategic targets in North Vietnam. And I know there's some Marines here. I have to say, you guys are kind of crazy because the Marines always flew solo night missions. I mean, come on, I want somebody to come watch with me here. Let's do this. But it was a solo night mission in 1972 on December 27th. Now, on December 25th, he had written a letter home to his parents, and he was really worried about who the Cowboys were going to start as quarterback. And he said, Christmas is another work day for me. I'll have another one next year. And then he signed it like all of his letters. He said, give Karoni a kiss for me. There's so many kisses I have in his letters home because he always signed them that way. But on that fateful night, my dad and his pilot, Captain Jim Chipman, went to take out a bridge, and they never returned to the Rose Garden. They were listed as missing in action. They are still missing in action. Now, I could go on for a while about what I think on POW MIA accountability and some things that could be done different, but this is our Vietnam Veterans Day, so I'm only going to say something brief here. In the beginning, our biggest obstacle really was the Southeast Asian governments. Today, the biggest obstacle to accounting for our missing is the United States government funding for DPAA and prioritizing finding our missing loved ones. And here's the reason why I think it's important, and not just because I selfishly really want to know, because I do, but it's important for those who serve today, and it's important for those who consider serving tomorrow to know that we mean it when we say we will leave no man behind. It is important that we fund and support POW/MIA accountability. But then that brings it all back to how important you veterans are to our families. I do have a special friend out there, Brian Thompson. He was one of Daddy's buddies in Texas A&M. They were Animal 8 together. And he helps me know a man I don't remember. And that is a gift. Vietnam veterans have stood with families, so we knew we weren't alone. I tell you, the first time I went to Run for the Wall, which I know some of you like to ride motorcycles, I highly encourage you to check out Run for the Wall. It's an amazing 10-day pilgrimage across the country. I'll stop my sales pitch there. Just seriously, check it out. But the very first time that I was around these riders, I didn't realize that many people cared. It was the first time in my life that I saw people care. And so, you know, I try to bring families to some of our stops so that they can see that so many of you have not forgotten our loved ones. Now, I mentioned Daddy's buddy Brian. You know, he went Air Force, Daddy went Marine Corps. And it reminds me of a pretty funny story that I have to share because it's funny. My daughter is about 8 years old, and she asked me, Mom, what's the difference between the Marine Corps and the Air Force? And I laughed. Yeah. And so I said, well, let's call your Uncle Craig, who is also known as Major Craig Forrester, United States Marine Corps. Let's call your Uncle Craig, let him tell you. She asked the question in her little cute kid voice, Uncle Craig, what's the difference? He laughs and he said, Air Force would need hazard pay to live like Marines. My Air Force friends confirm that that is absolutely true. But truly, you guys, veterans, have really never forgotten the families. You've shown us that we're not alone. You invite us to Aggie football games. You give us a shoulder to cry on. You crack jokes to help us laugh. And sometimes they're not even really funny, but the effort makes us feel so good. You make a difference to families like mine. We thank you. So have I said welcome home? Welcome home. I'm going to close with a poem, but before I do want to encourage everyone, remember to pray for Ukraine, because everyone here today understands the cost of war. For many of us here, the Vietnam War changed our lives forever. But coming together and supporting one another is a silver lining, and it is beautiful in its own painful way. Now, this poem, it was written on New Year's Day, 1970, and it's prophetic. It was written by Major Michael O'Donnell, and on March 24th, 1970, he was listed as missing in action. Now, he is a success story. His remains have been recovered, and he has been buried in his homeland. Success stories do happen. They just happen too slow. But on that day in 1970, Major Michael O'Donnell wrote, "If you are able, save them a place inside of you, and save one backwards glance when you are leaving for the places they can no longer go. Be not afraid to say you love them, though you may or may not have always. Take what they have taught you with their dying and keep it with your own. And in that time when men feel safe to call the war insane, take one moment to embrace those gentle heroes you left behind."